You sit at your computer to buy a replacement charger. 15 minutes later, you're staring at an order confirmation for a $300 espresso machine. While this feels like a personal lapse in judgment, that unplanned purchase is the deliberate result of an engineered environment. Consumers in developed countries spend a significant portion of their income on non-essentials. We frequently operate under the belief that these are calculated choices based on the utility and value of the items we select. However, the biological reality is a constant struggle for dominance. The frontal lobe, the region responsible for rational decision-making, is routinely outmaneuvered by ancient survival instincts geared toward immediate rewards. Modern retail environments function as systems optimized to bypass human logic and trigger our fastest, most impulsive instincts. Acquiring a new item triggers a surge of dopamine in the brain's reward center. The act of purchasing creates a physical sense of pleasure. We often use this physiological response to self-soothe, temporarily masking negative emotional states like anxiety, boredom, or sadness. This aligns with normative psychology. We choose products to assert social status, project a specific identity, or satisfy an internal evaluation of what brings us unique value. The common concept of retail therapy illustrates this. A designer item is often selected not for its practical utility, but for the temporary burst of pleasure and identity affirmation it provides the shopper. In these moments, the transaction prioritizes the achievement of a temporary chemical state and a social shield over the product itself. Psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman documented a specific cognitive shortcut that retailers exploit, the anchoring bias. The human brain relies heavily on the very first piece of numerical information it receives to judge a product's value. This initial anchor becomes the yardstick for everything that follows. This chart shows how retailers use anchoring to manipulate value. They establish a high initial price, the anchor, and immediately offer a discount. Because the brain is anchored to that original high number, the lower sale price is perceived as a victory for the shopper. JCPenney learned this the hard way in 2011. When they switched to everyday low prices and removed the fake discounts, their sales dropped because shoppers no longer felt the thrill of winning a deal. Shoppers are primarily motivated by the psychological satisfaction of securing a perceived bargain rather than the objective fairness of a price. Perceived scarcity physically alters how we think. It stresses the cognitive system, which prevents the frontal lobe from engaging in calm, logical deliberation. History shows that when resources appear limited, shoppers often descend into hoarding and fierce competition. In 1983, spot shortages of Cabbage Patch Kids dolls triggered nationwide riots as people fought to secure a single doll. Digital marketers manufacture this exact sense of panic. They use countdown timers and low stock alerts to signal high demand and force a fast response. Research indicates these tactics work. A majority of online shoppers complete a purchase within 24 hours to avoid the anxiety of missing out on a deal. Restricting the time available for a decision blocks the path to rational thought. Urgency marketing effectively degrades the consumer's decision-making process, turning a financial choice into an act of reflexive panic. Purchases that conflict with our actual financial goals, often called dissonant buying impulses, are rarely driven by the product's actual value. Impulse spending is the result of playing a rigged game against multi-billion-dollar systems optimized to exploit our cognitive shortcuts. The most effective defense is friction. By deliberately slowing down, you neutralize marketing tactics that rely on speed and impulsive thinking. You can introduce friction by waiting 24 hours before checking out, comparing prices across multiple tabs, and identifying your emotional state before you click buy. Understanding your own psychological vulnerabilities shifts power back to you. For more insights into the psychology of money, subscribe to the channel.